Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
You are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And I'm Alanna.
And I'm Kelsey.
And that's Gorno in the corner, where you can't hear him.
Yes.
Don't even worry about it.
I think he's put himself down for a nap. It's perfect.
It's perfect. We never did get him to record his purr on the mic on that last Patreon episode,
tried.
though we did try.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't ready to make his on-air debut. That's fine. He's shy.
I think he's done it once before, either for a Patreon or a regular episode where we caught it. I was like, oh, that was cute.
Normally it's just his irritated as he gets
like
punted off the desk.
Throw him across the room or pick him up and carry him out of the room and then lock the door behind him.
Yes, he's being jettisoned from the equation. Oh my god. Yeah, we're coming at you, and we hope you missed us last week, but also enjoyed our little offering from our Darkcast sister show. Hands off my pod. That's what it was. Okay, because I did. Anyway, there was a moment where I was like, I'm gonna do this one. Oh no, wait, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna do this one. Oh cool, it's a Canadian case, so that worked out well.
Nice.
Yeah. And we needed the time, so we hope you don't mind. Yeah, that we're gearing up for spooky season. We're watching horror movies. We're writing notes about horror movie crimes. We are in it right now. I don't know if you've actually watched any horror movies lately. We haven't even talked about it. We've been keeping a lid on it, I should say.
I've watched a few.
Okay.
I've watched a few. Yeah.
We can't spoil too much.
I'm trying to get through all the ones I have, Disney Plus, Prime, and Netflix. Trying to focus on the horror movies, on the ones I have on my lists, and be like, watch enough of these, and then we can talk about some of them. I know you guys are buying like some of the newer ones. You guys rent like online when they come out, so I don't normally do that, so I won't have watched some of those, but.
Yeah, we'll have to do a short list, and you can let me know if you can come over to watch. Maybe we still have a couple on there, like Cuckoo he bought or downloaded.
Okay. Fun.
And I think we watched Be Afraid. I could be wrong. All the names start to sound the same after a while.
Okay. Yeah.
We watched that one Rain picked out with the stop motion, and it was kind of wild. Yeah, there's a few out there right now, as always. But yeah, we'll announce that and let you guys know more when we have it finalized for our Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we talking about today, Kelsey?
I think I pick this episode? I don't know. It was Vampire Lore.
I think you must have, because I didn't write it down, and then I hadn't even remembered what the topic was.
Yeah.
And I had to ask you.
I think we were talking about, it's been a while since we did like a lore episode. It's like vampires. Scary. Something.
Like, how can you not do some vampire lore? And not just the same old stuff that, I don't know, everybody talks about or whatever. Some different stuff.
Yeah, this was fun.
I thought so. There's a lot of stuff on frickin' Wikipedia. Like, holy.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll have to make a generous donation to them for all their hard work.
Like hundreds of movies then that have their own different lore and books, all that stuff. Their own sets of rules and things.
It goes back so far that you get like crazy stuff from historical to all around the world, and then like the modern.
Yeah.
All the modern takes. All the sparkly vampires.
I was just gonna say the sparkly vampires.
Which, if you're casually talking about the last Twilight movie to Pat, he'll be like, interrupt you to be like, not vampires. And I was like, whatever. For the purpose of the story, the vampires were all fighting. Because I do want to rewatch that. They were talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, they did have a big fuck-off vampire fight at the last Twilight movie. That's right.
I don't think I watched any of the Breaking Dawn ones. I'd watched the other three, I think.
Nothing really happens in the first half of the last movie, so you're better off just watching
I find
the
that
last one.
so rarely anything does when you have to split a movie. It's all like, this is the build up, and then everything cool is gonna be in the second one.
I mean, you could argue with Pat about that on his Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm not sure if he agrees, but then he puts on those movies because he's seen them 10 million times and then he falls asleep. So what does he have to say? No.
Call out.
It's like his go-to. I'm gonna have a dad nap because this is a comfort movie.
Did you guys ever watch What We Do in the Shadows? That one's hilarious.
I have seen some of it, but I wish I should.
So funny. I love it. I recently binge watched it.
Oh, okay. I was watching that
so
at my friend
hilarious.
Michelle's house. Yeah, they really like it too.
Yeah, I love it.
It's like, yeah, dark humor and sarcasm. Like, am I trying to say sarcasm or sarcastic? I don't know. One of those.
And like almost like a workplace comedy thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool when they do different like things like that through a different take, a modern lens, or a screwball comedy, or like, you know, the Pirates one too that Russell likes so much that I need to
Our
watch.
Flag Means Death.
Yeah. Will Arnett. I'm like, okay, yes, there's so many good people in it. And Pat's just like, I just don't like that one guy. I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah.
You can't close yourself off, man, just because you don't like that one actor.
Yeah, especially if they aren't like a main person in the show. Like you can put up with them for a series arc or whatever.
Yeah, because he didn't like one or two of the actors, or just not very much on the Umbrella Academy, and I was like, there's like 6 of them. You're barely gonna spend much screen time on each one, really.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, I'll have to give him a whole segment where he just talks about Pat's problem. No, it's like that Modern Family where Jay has his a blog online where he grumbles about stuff, or like, oh, what the fuck is it? You know what really grinds my gears? It's something like that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. It's like, you give them a little outfit and they'll just go with it.
Yeah.
Oh, like me on this podcast. I'm excited. I know I was going to talk about some different history and vampires around, like, lore around the world, and then I know you're going to cover, like, some ways to banish and free yourself of these vampy creatures.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I mean, I thought about that, but then I was like, I don't think it's really gonna matter. Because
probably not.
Most people know, yeah, in general, what we consider to be like a vampire creature. And yeah.
Right? If you don't know, where have you been?
Yeah, so mine will just be kind of like a deep dive into some origins and stuff, which I find fun. Oh my god, there's like so many different ways that people believe you can become a vampire. It's funny.
Yeah, I ran into some of that stuff just because they're talking about like how to prevent it by doing these certain things so like this doesn't happen. Yeah,
it's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. So I think I kind of kept these a little bit. It should start off with more like ways to ward off vampires or kind of protect yourself from them.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Those are fun folklore too.
Yeah.
Garlic, anyone?
I think that's my first one.
Well, I was just picking up like stuff at the liquor store for today and tonight or whatever, and then they had like this freaking vodka Caesar garlic. Like garlic in a can. And she's like, the lady said it was really good though. They also had something that looked like it came, instead of a can, it came in a blood bag. and it was like really red.
Oh,
It was so
wow.
cute.
Was it a
I know.
Bloody Mary?
No, I don't know. Wild berry and vodka. It sounded delicious.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I don't like
Or
Bloody
like
Marys and Caesars that
pomegranate,
much. Yeah,
pomegranate or something. That'd be good too.
something like that.
Black
Oh my god, they're
cherry.
so on point for the season.
Okay.
Maybe we'll taste test some of those. Ooh, that could be a fun Patreon.
Ooh.
And there was like
oh my
pumpkin
god, we
wine.
could. Okay, so if we get together and watch horror movies, we need to look up creepy cocktails to make.
Yes.
Like, I'm
I
sure
know how
there's
to make a
ones
brain
you can
hemorrhage
do.
shot.
I don't know what that is, but sure.
It looks
It'd be fun.
weird. It's like you make it with like a clear liquor and then like a more of a Bailey's or something on top, so that it kind of like doesn't mix, and then it's like a drop of grenadine or something that makes it a little red, so then it looks kind of like a weird brain floating in formaldehyde is the idea.
Oh, that would be fun. I like that.
Yes. Oh my god. Okay,
cool.
Writing it down.
Cute. Signature cocktails provided by bartender Alanna.
Oh, they did a similar series on the Drinking the Kool-Aid Patreon. I actually thought it was really fun. Yeah, they would like make up different cocktails and stuff. Ooh, cute. I love it. Okay.
Well, around the world, obviously, there's different cultural practices that are intended to prevent a recently deceased person from turning into an undead revenant.
Ooh, revenant.
Yeah. The causes of turning into a vampire vary around the world, and even from modern to more traditional folklore.
It's the lair where the folk dragon lives.
Yeah. In Slavic and Chinese traditions, a body that I guess was jumped over by an animal, particularly a dog or a cat, was likely to become undead. I thought that was interesting.
I think that was interesting too. I came across that and was like, but why? Why a
I
cat?
know.
Or... I didn't hear the dog part. Yeah.
A dog or a cat.
And do they have to jump? A cat, I feel like, is more likely to jump. A dog's just going to wander by, sniff, and maybe take a pee.
Just like anybody with a okay, another way is anybody with a wound that had not been treated with boiling water, I guess, is also at risk. That sounds painful.
Okay, but also at least antibacterial to wash it out with some water that's at least been boiled back in the day.
Right? Yeah, there's some thought behind it.
Maybe that had something to do with the theory behind it. I don't know.
Yeah. In Russian folklore, vampires were said to have once been witches or people who rebelled against the Russian Orthodox Church when they were alive.
Okay, convenient. Russian Orthodox Church.
I feel like that was maybe scapegoating, like witch trial type stuff.
Ooh, did you see the sun just totally get covered by a cloud? I went like to total darkness for a minute. It was weird. Okay, never mind.
Nope.
Castles and cryptids after dark.
Got like cat hair all over my drink. Grody.
Oh no. Was he nuzzling it?
I don't know. It's floating in the air somewhere.
Oh yeah. They do be doing that.
Yeah. So some of the well-known ways to protect yourself include garlic. So I thought this was kind of interesting. The odor from garlic is believed to deter vampires, and this belief may have originated from epidemics of rabies that occurred in the past.
Okay.
I guess individuals with rabies have hypersensitive olfactory senses, so like sense of smell, and the pungent scent from garlic would be very bad to them, so it could repel them that way.
Okay. A little bit of something like that came up in mine too, like the blaming of the rabies because of the oversensitivities and different things that you like. Also over like aversion to water. I think you develop it. Yeah, some weird symptoms.
I think I've heard of that too.
I didn't know the odor
There's
thing. That kind of makes sense, I guess. But yeah.
there's also, I guess, two other things to do with garlic that may be one of the reasons why this is such a common thing. Um,
Mm.
Garlic apparently contains the chemical compound allicin or
Yes,
allicin.
because then it
Is
sounds
it
like the name
Allison?
Allison, right?
Yeah.
They talked about this on Keep It Weird. Okay, I remember this. Yes, it was
It's
really funny.
it's found inside garlic and is a powerful antibiotic. And the belief that the vampire disease could be cured by a powerful antibiotic, such as that Allison
Okay, so
in
they knew it had
garlic.
those
So,
properties. They knew that Allison had those properties. Oh,
right.
Allison.
Uh,
That's amazing.
yeah. I guess there's also a blood disorder, porphyria, and
Okay.
this blood disorder can cause paleness. It can make a person's
Ooh.
gums, like their gum line, shrink. That can cause their teeth
Oh.
to look bigger. Um,
Ooh.
and people that have porphyria, garlic will make their symptoms worse. So people that have it typically tend to avoid eating or being near garlic.
Oh,
Which I
interesting.
had never really heard of these two things before, so I thought that was kind of cool. I liked the gums
Yeah.
shrinking and then it causes paleness. I was like, interesting, because those seem very
Ah.
vampire like.
Okay, I had also not heard of that one, and it cropped up briefly in my research also.
Right? I
Huh.
didn't think I was gonna learn so much. So I was like, oh, ways to kill vampires. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Right? You assume you know all the general lore, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's kind of like learning about, yeah, why we maybe believe that the gods did this to us when it was like, no, it's called a plague. But, you had to believe
Yeah,
something. Just go to sleep at night.
yeah.
Oh.
Bibles, crucifixes, rosaries, and holy water are also very common ways to repel vampires. These
Okay.
religious symbols can be used to protect yourself, as well as making magic circles, standing inside churches or on any sort of consecrated ground.
Okay.
Which is,
Yep,
yeah,
that tracks. Heard
yeah,
of some
right.
of those, yeah.
Mirrors are also commonly used, I guess, placed facing outwards, um, on like or inside a doorway. Uh, this came from,
Oh, okay.
they believe, because most mirrors a long time ago, some still today, but more so back in history, mirrors were backed with silver, which was said to repel evil spirits
Ah,
and may account for vampires not having reflections in
which is so
mirrors because of the
cool. It's
silver.
like, okay, that's where that comes from.
Yeah, I was like,
That's neat.
interesting. There's also said to be a branch of wild rose or hawthorn, are said to harm vampires. Uh, I don't really know what hawthorn is,
Oh
but
yeah,
it
some
came up
kind.
a couple times. I think I have it one other time about hawthorn, and I was like, interesting. Like,
No, but that's all good because we live in wild rose country.
we do.
Stay back, vamps.
You can also use holly around the house, or some people keep a log of juniper in their
Oh,
house to repel vampires.
Juniper
Interesting.
also makes a cute name.
I
One of
do like that name.
Christine's cats is named that. Oh, and that's why we drink.
Uh, it
Yeah,
is a cute name. I like
Junie.
it. And ringing bells are also said to keep vampires away. I think I'd heard that
Oh,
before too. I don't know if it's to do with like
huh.
church bells or what, but
Oh, yeah, okay.
that's what I thought maybe.
Hmm.
There is also the very popular tradition that vampires can't enter your house unless invited in by the owner.
As evidenced by many a horror film. Let the right one
And
in.
TV show, yeah.
Ah, yes. That's an interesting
Vampires,
one, yeah. I've always found that to be a
yeah.
weird quirk.
I think
How
Buffy does
polite.
it the best. I love it.
Oh, I guess they
Because
could
then
really
you
play
can,
with that.
yeah, you can invite them in, and then you can de-invite them, and then
She
back
invites
and
Spike
forth.
into her bed, and then she's like, "Banish!
Yeah,
I go to sleep
yeah.
now." I always thought Spike was really hot.
Yeah, I do not fuck with Angel, but Spike does. I love
we're,
Spike.
we're Spike stands. Oh my god.
Absolutely 100%.
Sorry,
And
David
you know what?
Borneaz, or however you say his name. I always said it Borneaz, so that's how I say it now.
Not bony ass, no.
Oh, it does sound like that. Oh no.
Just know that in the comics that they're writing after the TV shows takes place is by the same people. I think Joss Whedon's still involved in the comic books. Her and Spike are
Oh.
together, but they travel in a pirate ship through space. So that's the direction the comic books went after the show, but they're still together. Okay.
I think going to space is the new we jumped the shark.
Yeah,
Because
but
like yeah, the Fast and the Furious, and then what was I listening to? I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of that How Did This Get Made movie podcast.
yeah.
And there was a Christopher Walken movie where he gets probed by aliens, but maybe that wasn't the one I was thinking of, so
Damn.
never mind. We'll
Sounds
come back
fun.
to that. If I can pick up my ADHD thread. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
All right. So they can't be invited in. There's also a lot of stuff talking about them being more active at night, but not typically are they generally considered vulnerable to sunlight. I guess that's more of like a modern thing that they've been adding.
Huh. They're daywalkers.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't really something that's in a lot of like traditional folklore. But it was the whole thing about them being more active at night, at least.
Right.
But not necessarily that like sunlight would kill them, though. Crossing over running water is also said to stop a vampire from following you. So
I mean, I'll never understand that one.
I don't know. I could have looked into that one. I feel like I've heard it a few other times. Yeah, not really sure.
They might
It's
not
like,
all have a really cool, origin.
yeah. Sometimes it doesn't. So what do I have? Oh, these are ways to stop somebody from turning into a vampire. These are kind of cool. So there's burying a corpse upside down was very common. I
Okay,
didn't
so
know
like
that.
face
Like,
down, you think?
I think so. I think that's what they mean. It just said upside down, but I think they mean like face down.
Right, because it didn't say like facing south or something that I
Yeah,
can't
I think we
understand.
talked about that before about like it facing a
Mm.
certain direction.
I've heard of
Um,
in whatever history fucking book I was reading, or like maybe it was Vikings, or who knows, and like people being buried upside down and with also like a heavy stone on their back. Maybe if they were thought of being like a witch. So okay, it could be a similar
I
like
can
keep them
see
in their
that for
fucking
this
grave.
too. Yeah, because they do some crazy shit here that's supposed to stop people from being able to
Oh.
leave their grave. So
Yeah. Oh, times were wild.
and some of these I'm like, God, I hope these people were already dead when you did this shit to them because this sounds horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? And some of that was almost like an extra way to tell if they were dead back then, because people would like
Yeah.
look very unresponsive, and then they'd be like, "Ah, I was just
Yeah.
resting." No.
Yeah. Poke you with a stick.
Yeah.
Give you a little kick, see if you respond.
Well, they did the thing where they wrapped the people in the shrouds on the ships, and then with the final sewing needle thing, they stick it through their nostrils to make sure that it stayed with them and that they were really dead.
Yeah.
Kind of grim.
Wild.
Yeah.
So I guess they also used to bury people with earthly objects. Felt very Egyptian to me.
Oh,
Burying
yes.
people with like
Lots of
scythes or
cultures.
sickles
Yeah.
near
Okay.
the grave. And this was said to be done to satisfy any demons entering the body or to appease the dead so that they would not arise from their coffin. So
Oh, we think the demons want the sickles? They're like
I
the Grim
guess
Reaper.
so. It comes up again, but the other explanation for it made a little more sense than this one did. The ancient Greek used to place an obelisk in the corpse's mouth to pay the toll to get across the river Styx in the underworld.
Okay, just a tiny little obelisk.
Yeah. The coin may have been put there to ward off evil spirits from entering the body. I've seen,
we all
like,
know what obelisks look like. Dicks. I had to.
Right? And placing it in their mouth.
That's interesting, though. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. I've seen this stuff, like putting coins on people's eyes, that kind of stuff.
Right, to pay the toll, pay the ferryman.
Yeah. Modern Greek folklore about the Vrykolakas requires you to pay to place a wax cross and a piece of pottery with the inscription "Jesus Christ conquers" on the corpse to prevent it from becoming a vampire. So that's like a modern Greek. Or more modern Greek.
Oh yeah. Post Christ, yeah.
Yeah, I should have looked up what the wax crosses typically look like. That'd be kind of interesting.
Wax, yeah, specific.
Yeah, I would have thought metal or maybe wood, but this is wax.
Then
we get into some
melt. Sorry.
Yeah, now we get into some like gory, weird stuff.
All right.
Other European methods included severing the tendons at the knee to like stop people. Yeah. Like, again, I hope these people are already dead. This shit.
Oh yeah, this is very desecrating a corpse territory.
Absolutely.
I felt that when you said that.
I guess I could have put this one with the other things. There's sprinkling mustard seeds on your roof to keep vampires away. Yeah.
Sure. Take all the mustard seeds. I don't want
them. In Poland and Russia in the 19 I knew I was gonna do that. The 1690s.
Oh my god! And the different centuries, I'd be like, the 18th century, and then I'd be like, or did I mean the 1800s? Because those ones are very close together, and it gets confusing.
All right, so this is in Poland and Russia in the 1690s. Citizens who identified a vampire's grave could protect themselves by eating bread that they had made by mixing flour with that person's blood. Like, I think the person that had passed away.
Okay, yeah. I guess it couldn't just be eating bread. That would be too easy.
Yeah. Or simply drinking the blood by mixing it with brandy or other alcohols, I guess. And others claimed that eating dirt from a vampire's grave would protect you from that person. So, like, it was very specific to, like, each person.
Yeah, the dirt thing. Yeah, that's a weird one, too.
Yeah. But, like, blood-borne pathogens! Don't drink other people's blood. I'd find it funny that it's like, oh, you're gonna protect somebody from drinking your blood by drinking their blood first, I guess.
Right.
A little funny.
It's that homeopathic belief that like cures like.
Maybe, yeah. I thought it was a little ironic. It was like, oh, so when are you supposed to be getting this blood from this deceased person to protect you from them rising from their grave and killing you?
Okay, but crazy aside though, with the homeopathic, that I just read a book where it was a theme, and it's like they treat it like cures like, and we're gonna treat this thing by giving you something that might give you that same symptom that you're having, right? But they're like, what?
Make it worse.
Right. Well, one of the but it's like super diluted. But like one of the cure things that they put in that's like super super diluted is like arsenic, and it's just like this just seems weird. I mean, it's supposed to be like so diluted it can't do anything really, but
I see
odd.
like the thought process, because that's kind of what vaccines do. Like
that's right,
the flu vaccine and stuff, it's like a more muted version of it, and it triggers your immune system so that if you catch that strain again or something, that your body already knows what to do to fight it off. So I can see the almost thought process, but it's like, guys, don't use poison though.
It's interesting, because that is the idea, and then I'm just not sure how much I know about the rest of it.
Another common protection was placing, this is funny because they do this in What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
They have a little thing where they're testing all these little vampire lore things to see if they actually affect them, and they do this.
Okay.
It's by placing things like poppy seeds, millet, or sand around the gravesite, intended to keep the vampire occupied all night by having to count like all the little grains or pieces of whatever is spilled.
Tiny grains.
The scene in the show is really funny because they're like, we're gonna Guillermo is like, pours out a bag of rice and is like, we're testing to see if you guys have to count this or are compelled to count this. And they're just like, no, like, I don't feel anything. And they're like, okay, moving on. And then I think there's 2 or 3 of them in the vampires in the scene. They go, hold on, we're just going to clean this up first. And you just hear them go 1, 2, 3. And then like the scene cuts away. And I was like, oh, so funny. Because they're like, oh, this didn't affect us, but hold on, we're just going to clean it up. And they're counting it. They're all counting it. And it's like, oh, love it.
So we're just making fun of people with OCD. No, just kidding.
Maybe.
You're compulsive. Oh, man.
Similarly, in China, vampiric beings would be compelled to count all grains in a sack of rice. Vampires, I guess, in Slavic coastal towns were also said to be compelled to count holes in fishing nets. So it's said to protect yourself. Like, some people would put, like, spill stuff on their doorstep to keep them from, like, entering your house, and other things said that they would drape fishing nets over their entryways, so that a vampire wouldn't be able to enter, because they would be they were trying to like untangle the nets to count all of the holes, and that if they kept them occupied like long enough, the sun would kill them in the morning, or they would just leave in the morning.
Plus you can just pretend it's part of your like I'm from the Maritimes, where you'll see a lot of like the outdoor decorations will include little mini lighthouses at the end of their like driveway and stuff. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see someone's like lobster trap or like something displayed around their door.
Pouring boiling water over the grave or incinerating the body are also really common things. This might be the most common and some of the like creepiest stuff. So this is like staking the vampire. But I didn't really see stuff about like after they rise. This is more about like them still in their graves.
Oh yeah.
It's most commonly used to prevent them from rising in the first place. Potential vampires were often staked through the heart, through the mouth in places like Russia, and then in northern Germany, through the mouth in Russia and northern Germany, and then through the stomach in northeastern Serbia. Very specific.
Wow. That is a
impale the
image.
Fuckers.
Yeah. Okay, I might have like something that touches a little bit on that superstition, I guess. But
there was like
pretty crazy.
Different ways they did this. Their piercing the chest was a way of quote unquote deflating the bloated vampire, and it would become popularly known as an anti-vampire burial. So,
Oh, I thought you were gonna say they became like popped because like you stake them, they're gonna be like inflamed with some gases, you know?
Yeah, like it's weird because they did this, but then there's different things like methods varied, but they sometimes involved burying the bodies with sharp objects, such as
Oh,
sickles, with the
right.
corpse so that the object would penetrate or pierce the skin if the body bloated enough while transforming into a vampire. So sometimes they were like already impaled, and sometimes they were just buried with it, thinking that like if they started to
Hmm.
transform, the vampire body would bloat enough that it would pierce the skin and that they would be like
Oh,
killed as a
okay.
vampire again, I guess. Yeah.
That is a lot of forethought. Like
Yeah, I
one of
hadn't
those
really heard
machines
about.
that it sets off its next part, which sets off the next part. I forget.
Oh yeah, what are
Rube
those called?
Goldberg machine. Yeah.
Yeah, those ones. Yeah.
Very Wallace and
Um
Gromit. No.
yeah, like I didn't even run across stuff that was talking much about staking vampires like Buffy style. Like they raise from the
Yeah.
grave and now I stake them and they turn into a cloud of dust. It was more
Oh
about them
my
being
god.
buried already staked, or like
Yeah.
with a sharp enough object that would like stake them if they started to rise, which was
Or
interesting.
they could just be like, I gotta stake myself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
So there
creepy
was
though. I have to say they did
right.
a thing on the traders where half their team had to get like buried alive in these coffins and they had to walkie-talkie to the rest of the
No.
team to find them. Yeah. A little creepy.
Creepy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the Romani people, they would drive steel or iron needles into a corpse's heart, or even just place
Okay.
bits of steel in the corpse's mouth, over the eyes, ears, and even between the fingers for
Huh.
burial. Yeah, to like cut the skin, I guess. They
Oh,
would
okay.
also place hawthorn in the corpse's sock or drive a hawthorn stake through the legs to keep
Oh,
them
the
from
legs
rising.
now. All right. Just
Yeah.
everywhere. For good measure. They'd be just
And
like
the
looking like that pincushion head guy or whatever. Hellraiser.
um, yeah, scary. I don't like him.
No.
I guess in
Hmm.
like Bulgaria and stuff, other places I assume too, they found um like evidence of these anti-vampire burials, where in
Hmm.
Bulgaria specifically over 100 skeletons have been discovered with various metal objects embedded in their torsos, which
Oh,
is
wow.
creepy. Yeah,
That's a lot.
because it seems to be something they didn't do with everybody. It was just like suspected vampires, so it's not everybody was
Hmm.
buried this way.
Well, that's right. And there's apparently a few different reasons they might suspect they were vampires, which we'll get to.
Like not liking garlic, come on.
I'm in no danger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't always use it, but I definitely don't mind it.
Yeah.
There was also like different places, I think, around Europe where they would kind of after your death and burial, they would like dig you up. I think it was about 6 weeks later.
Ooh.
And they would place like a brick, stone, or a vine between your teeth.
Oh, between your teeth. Okay.
Yeah, like they would force it into your mouth in
Yeah.
between like your upper and lower jaw. There was a 1679 book describing the German named After Devourer, which is crazy. Devourer.
What?
So hard to say.
So he's not named after someone named Devourer?
No,
His
it's
name-
describing the German After Devourer. So I think it's like
Oh
after
my
death
god.
devourer kind of thing. In this
Huh.
book, this entity was described as quote a kind of mindless vampire-like corpse that chews its shroud in the grave before consuming its own fingers. As it
Oh,
nibbles away by some occult process, it also slowly kills the surviving members of its family and may then begin gobbling corpses in neighboring graves.
oh my.
Which, no thanks.
Hungry ghost, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, so they would they would dig these people up and then like force a brick or like a stone or a vine between their teeth so that they couldn't like bite anything. It's like weird. Yeah.
So weird.
There was also funny you mentioned it before about like rocks, but there's like Viking ruined grave markers that were also used as like headstones to kind of prevent vampires from rising from the grave. Yeah, it was interesting. Okay, a couple more ways there for killing vampires. There was decapitation. Come on, that's also very common. It was the preferred method in Germany and Western Slavic areas.
It's
this
messy.
Also, right? So much desecration in.
Yeah, although I guess they're not going to bleed if they're already dead, but well.
Yeah, like again, I hope all these people were already very much dead when you're doing this shit to their bodies.
6 weeks they definitely are.
Yeah.
They don't have one of those safety coffins or whatever. We can just ring the bell.
Oh yeah. I heard about those.
So bizarre.
So for like decapitation, it seems that the head was removed after death and buried either between the feet, behind the buttocks, or away from the body, like altogether.
So for all time, you get your head up your own ass?
Yeah. Or down smelling your own feet.
Yeah.
Lose. If you're rising from the grave, you can eat your own butt cheeks. I don't know what's happening. Like, just weird.
Yeah.
The vampire's head, body, or clothing could also be spiked or pinned to the ground to prevent it from rising. Yeah, spiked. No.
Spiked.
What else? In southeastern Europe, a vampire could be killed by being shot or drowned, or even just repeating the funeral service, sprinkling them with holy water. I can't talk anymore, jeez.
Gotta sprinky them.
Sprinkle them with holy water. Or performing an exorcism.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't heard about repeating the funeral service, like back to them as a way to kill them. I thought that was kind of different. In Romania, garlic was placed in the mouth, like when they were buried.
They love to put things in the mouth. I don't know.
Yeah. In the 19th century, they started the common practice of just simply shooting a bullet through the coffin as a precaution. I think that one's also pretty popular. Just like shoot you, just to be sure.
I'm looking to see if it got you through the coffin.
Yeah, they're just like, we're just gonna line up all the coffins and just shoot at them. Damn. Yeah, in like very resistant cases, I guess, where the vampire just won't die, the body could be dismembered and the pieces burned. It also said that at this point they could be then also mixed with water and given to the family members as a cure. I really hope it was just given to them and not like they had to ingest this weird mixture of the dismembered, burned remains mixed with water of their family members. But I have no idea. It sounded gross.
Well, maybe we'll get to it.
Okay, and just quit out. God, I'm on my last sentence. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm on my last sentence.
He was sleeping behind you and his head was down. It looked like he was looking at the ground. I don't know. He was being so good.
This one also kind of weird. I should have looked up more. In Saxon regions of Germany, a lemon was placed in the mouth of suspected vampires. Just a lemon.
Dang.
Lemony
I
fresh!
like it.
Uh,
That's a weird one.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more out there, but those are kind of the ones that I ran across first off. So
Well, that's funny. That one's, I just have to say that one's funny that it was in Germany because
yeah.
the girl and the Christine from And That's Why We Drink, her family's originally from Germany, and then they have this whole long-standing, like, she found a weird lemon in one of the hotel rooms on their tour, and like, took it home. She was like, "Oh, petrified lemon," and that's become this like long-running joke and stuff. They're like, "Live, laugh, lemon," and like all that silliness. So I'm just like, wait, why? Why Germany? Why the lemon?
It's set in Saxon regions of Germany, so yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more out there. I could have gotten into the whole Twilight sparkly vampires of it all, but
I mean, they're killed basically the same way.
Yeah, decapitation, fire.
A lot of decapitation.
Making him count grains of rice. I don't know. I thought those were funny.
Yeah, those ones are one of the weirder ones that are always like, yeah, it makes them seem more like bumbling and inept than these crazy creatures with these, you know, powers of persuasion and whatnot. It's like, just what?
Yeah, they're like, spill a bag of sand. They need to count it. They'll have to clean it up, and then you're safe. It's like, really?
They should have tried that in 30 Days of Night with those terrifying vampires. But wait, I found something I could. Some road rice. Surely they had some like sand nearby for the icy roads. Like, come on, it was in Alaska, that one. You gotta have that shit.
Yeah.
All right, that was awesome.
Thanks. I had fun. It was cool. There was some stuff I wasn't expecting. Like when I got into staking, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be like through the heart and that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh no, wait, it's like the bodies and they're still in the casket or coffin and
yeah, we just don't do it the same everywhere. There's all these different traditions that come up. It's kind of neat. All right, well, I have some more to piggyback on that, so we'll take a short break, I think. Hopefully we both come back dead and not dead, not undead. I was gonna say no. Hopefully we both come back. No,
we'll die and come back after this break. Oh,
we will be doing this podcast even if we have to do it as spirits. No,
as zombies.
Oh my god! And on that note,
grab your marshmallows and sleeping bags for the Burnt Marshmallows podcast, where cozy mysteries come alive around the crackling campfire. Picture yourself wrapped in a warm blanket, sipping hot cocoa as we share spooky tales that will whisk you away to a world of mystery, ghosts, and perhaps even an occasional monster. Crime-solving spirits, urban legends, Bigfoot, we've got it all. Join Burnt Marshmallows every Tuesday, wherever you listen to podcasts for cozy mysteries.
All right. We are back, and I have some more superstitions and some stuff that's going to touch on what we already got to, because vampires for a very long time, apparently.
Yeah.
Who knew? Probably lots of people.
Everybody other than us.
I know. Well, it's funny because sometimes, I'll see something on someone's podcast feed and I'll be like, do I want to listen to something about vampires? But then it's like, sometimes you do, because people will find stuff in research that like you never come across. And I find I always learn something new. I don't know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. I literally came across some of the same things you did, like the porphyria disease.
Yeah.
Came out.
Never heard of it before. Weird.
No, and like to expand on what you had said about it, people noticed that it caused a sensitivity to sunlight in people. That's what I had read. Anyway,
Okay.
I mean, let me tell you, I didn't have time to deep dive into really a lot of things because it's just like so much
I know.
already.
Same. There's like, oh, you want to talk about like so many different things, but then
Yeah,
each one of them you could do like a deep dive on, really.
exactly. Like, I mean, I've used a lot of the one big Wikipedia page that had, from histories to all the different, folklore around the world. It was like, oh shit, all right. I barely have to open up another site. No.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
some stuff. God, was it? I had something. It was like a free article from something, and I was like, oh, cool. Must have reset whatever I had used up before, because.
Oh.
A couple other things. I was like, oh, cool. Like, these are interesting.
Oh yeah, the rabbit holes are literally endless. I'll try not to bore you guys too much. The one cool thing I read about that porphyria, or however, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it right. I was like, that sounds like right when you
said
it.
I was like, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, but it it had the sensitivity to sunlight apparently, and did you say this that blood drinking seemed to have a positive effect on it? Like, I don't know whether it's from the iron in the blood or maybe that came up in one of the other diseases you talked about or something, but it's like curing the disease with the disease, that thing again.
Maybe they just need a fucking blood transfusion, y'all.
Maybe. I know. I don't know if this one's a modern one that we understand a lot, but I can see how back in the day things like that would definitely lead to these superstitions.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. We gotta explain it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably definitely all know the modern, sort of more European, I guess, blood sucking, want to suck your blood vampire. They all typically have, like the aversion to sunlight, or like just like you said, more activity at night, I guess.
Yeah.
The fangs, etc. The sleeping in the coffin or in an actual grave sometimes has to contain their native soil, which I was like, oh, that reminds me of some of these paranormal romance ones I've read where they're like, they heal if they sleep in their like grave dirt, which just sounds so uncleanly.
They kind of do that in What We Do in the Shadows. They can't sleep unless they have some of their ancestral, not dirt from their grave, but like from their ancestral home. So there's an episode where they go on, they get invited to their neighbor Sean's wedding, like, or renewing his vows or something, and they go on holidays, and they each bring like their one little bag they have of their dirt that's left over, because some of them are like 500 years old, so they have like a little bag of dirt, and they have to like sprinkle it under their bed or keep it under their bed so that they can sleep in the hotel, and they forget to put the do not clean sign up for the maid, so the maid vacuums up all the dirt, and then they can't sleep and they get sleep deprived, and then they all get like super loco and like very very tired, but they can't sleep, and
it's like they can't just, I don't know, put it in their bedside table or something. Yeah, weird.
I don't know, it was weird, and I thought it was kind of funny.
The modern problems of being a vampire.
Yeah, they're like, we forgot to put the sign out for the housekeeping, and she vacuumed up all our dirt. Now I can't sleep.
We all know this problem. Yes, I lost a good
my ancestral dirt.
I lost a good Deathly Hallows shirt in a hotel room, and I swear the housekeeping took it. I don't know else what could have happened to it. A ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've heard that. The interesting.
The dirt. Yeah, it's weird. The dirt comes up. They, like you said, the no reflection. They usually have no shadow. They can't be captured on film. All of that. And then the different ways that they, like, just in general, that you can become one just range from like the one list was like bitten, sorcery, suicide, contagion, cats jumping over your grave. It's just like
just one word answers. That was
it's all the different ones, and they're all so different. Yeah. But there's even superstitions that people like with different births or whatever, like if they're born with like some sort of, not even birth defect, but like babies born with teeth. Some cultures that babies born on Christmas Day or between Christmas Day and Epiphany, or babies born too early. Just like all of the things.
Yeah. They've done some stuff. Yeah, I think those have been different, like creatures or stuff too that I think we've talked about.
Yeah, it's interesting that they give them these attributes. I don't know why. Maybe because they had like babies dying and they wanted an explanation.
Yeah, something. There had to be something.
But going back to like ancient origins, such as good old Mesopotamia, where they had legends of blood drinking demons.
Yeah.
And the Persians had creatures that like to drink blood, that were featured on their pottery. I guess we found it on the pot shards and whatever. And like even ancient Babylonia had the mythical, I think it's pronounced like Lilitu, who morphed and inspired the myth of Lilith. Ever heard of her?
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
This is from, I guess, like Hebrew demonology. So cool. I've definitely heard of Lilith as being called like the mother of dragons, not dragons, demons. Wow.
Are you thinking about Game of Thrones too much?
Apparently. Good God. I'm not even reading it. I'm reading some stupid historical book where I hate all of the people in it. Anyway.
Ugh, why do you keep reading it?
I don't know. I started it. Her other books have been okay. She wrote The Other Boleyn Girl. She's a good history writer, but the people in history are not always good, and I don't like
We're compelling
hardly anyone in this. Yeah, it's about like Elizabeth I, like lover, and he's like a married guy, so he's just a piece of shit. Anyway. It's great. So yeah, Lilith, the mother of demons, is often shown drinking baby blood and the blood of new mothers. How nice.
Oh.
Yeah, just preying on them poor babies and their mamas. Like,
yeah, so they don't have enough to worry about.
I know. This is how back through history we are typically shitty about the stories we have about different female figures.
Yeah.
Why do they all suck? In medieval folk traditions, she can be found, and like in some different Jewish texts, and I've heard that Jewish texts, Jesus Christ, checks. She is said to be the first wife of Adam sometimes. So,
okay.
I don't know. But Hebrew law definitely forbids the eating of human flesh, so parents would like hang amulets around their cradle to keep her away.
Yes, cannibalism, other than where in Germany, isn't it? Or where's that place where that dude was a cannibal and wasn't convicted for anything?
Oh gosh.
That
one. You know, I don't remember, because there's a couple of cases where people like questionably consented.
Yeah, it's like a willing victim. Yeah, like in other places it is frowned upon. It is.
Those are tough.
And you
ones,
can get diseases from it, and like brain disorders and parasites and stuff.
Yeah, and there's a whole question of, if someone says they want to be eaten, is it okay that you did it? And I'm just like, I don't like these cases.
Yeah, it's like
rough.
Sucks that
Very
there's
rough.
enough of them that we have to have the conversation to begin with. It's not just a one-off where
Yeah.
you can be like, that person be crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know which one you're talking about, but yeah,
Yeah,
there's a few.
there's too many to know which one.
Oh.
Damn.
So another version is from ancient Sumer. Is that how you say it? Part of Sumeria, so I feel like it's said that way, but
I think so.
Lilith is depicted as a infertile maiden of great beauty, but also a harlot vampire who latches onto her chosen lover, never to let him go. So pretty shitty. Yeah.
Not great either way.
No. The Lilitu or Lilitu spirits were, quote, anthropomorphic, bird-footed, wind or night demon, and was often described as a sexual predator who subsisted on the blood of babies and their mothers. Again, with the
Great
babies. Yeah. Another one, I guess from these ancient times, was called Lamashtu, a blood-sucking daughter of heaven with a lion's head and the body of a donkey.
Oh, I might have heard of that one before. For some reason, that's yeah,
lion and a donkey. Yeah,
weird. Yeah, weird combo. It's like a liger.
Yeah,
Lion tiger from, was that Napoleon Dynamite or something?
Right. Yeah, there's just a lot of those half this, half that kind of.
Yeah,
a sphinx of this. Yeah. This one also loved to stick around young, babies and women in labor to have babies, to steal their babies.
Why can't it be like, likes to prey on men? Everything is babies and women who've just given birth. Like, leave them alone.
Ancient patriarchy. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Ancient Greece had the Lamia or Lamia, I'm not really sure, but and the Empusa, which evolved more into like modern witches and sort of demons, I guess. Empusa was the daughter of Hecate, who was demonic, bronze-footed, and slept with men to get close enough to steal their blood. Huh? Men?
I approve. Finally.
I approve this message.
Yeah.
Lamia was a secret lover of Zeus, who wasn't, and a daughter of King Belus.
Was it a secret?
Yeah. Not once Hera found out. Ooh. She caught them shagging on the counter. It wasn't me. So she killed all Lamia's offspring. I assume her offspring was Zeus, but either way, woof. And Lamia's revenge was to torment and prey on young children at night, because take it out of the young kids that didn't do this to you.
Damn. Not on Zeus. Take it
bad.
out on fucking Zeus.
That's right. It's always takes two to tango.
Yeah.
Don't know how to say this one there, but it's similar names in other cultures, but the Striges or Strigas maybe were ones that fed on kids in the form of crows.
Ew.
So I thought it sounded cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't even remember where that was from, but sorry. In Homer's Odyssey, the undead can only be heard by the living if they drink a fortifying cup of blood first.
Oh, I want to read Odyssey. I have it on my Kindle. It was part of like Amazon's free classics thing, so like you can download and then you technically own like all these classic books. So I have a bunch of them, and that's one of them. I really want to read it, but some of them.
It does sound kind of fantastical. Yeah,
some of them are so long, and yeah.
Audiobook in the car? No, I don't know. She's like, I don't even have a commute. Meh.
Yeah, my drive isn't even a kilometer. I could sometimes listen to a song and a half. Like,
first world problems. Do it while you're vacuuming.
Yeah, my problem is like a lot of times I want to watch something that's like a little more like mellow. I don't have to think so hard to like follow or like read something like that, where it's like, oh, in my downtime, do I really want to make my brain work
Yeah.
that hard.
It's like you're throwing on a show because you're going to bed at night. You don't want to start something new. Yeah, you're very much
Yeah.
like don't start like a new podcast or something unless you really are into it.
Yeah, I just can't.
I can't. Okay. India had ghouls called the Vitalas, I'm gonna say, that are undead and they hang upside down in cemeteries.
Oh, that's creepy.
Right? And the only instance I found of ones that actually hang upside down.
Interesting.
But, yeah. Jewish lore again has the Hebrew word aluka, I guess, which means leech, and they also had one. I'm also going to probably butcher Motet's dam, which meant bloodsuckers. And the most detailed appearance in the Jewish texts. I said it right that time. Appears in the tome the Sefer Hasidim, an account of the life of Jews in medieval Germany, including daily life and their beliefs. The vampire creatures in this text can change into a wolf and can fly in human form by letting down their long hair.
What?
Just picture it flying out behind them, like long black hair. Everything that's creepy has long black hair.
Yeah, like stringy, greasy black.
I'm sorry if you guys have black hair. I love it. It's probably glossy and beautiful.
Yeah.
If it died from a lack of sustenance, you could keep it from becoming a demon by burying it with earth in its mouth. So that rings reminiscent of all your burying it with shit in the mouth.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
I never knew all those ones. Yeah.
No, it's weird.
Apparently by medieval times, Lilith, her story's got a makeover, and she could also turn into a cat, which I just thought was fun.
Cute.
Yeah, I love the cat theme. The cat over the grave that's an image. I don't know. Black cat, of course. Come on now.
Yeah, gotta be.
Quote, other Jewish stories depict vamps in a more traditional way than we would think of them now, of course. In the Kiss of Death, the daughter of the demon king Ashmodai snatches the breath of a man who has betrayed her, strongly reminiscent of a fatal kiss of a vamp.
Interesting.
Yeah, just a random one that you don't hear too much about, fatal kiss of a vampire, but I thought it was kind of interesting. And this one sounds like it comes from a comic book, just because they said a rare story found in Sefer Hasidim number 1465, which sounds like an issue number to me.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah. It tells of an old vampire named Astria. Sorry. Who uses her hair to drain the blood from her victims. Don't know how,
What?
but I would like to see that in action.
Uses the hair. Is it like a whip? Does she whip people with her hair? I whip my hair back and forth.
She's like cuts them and then just like wraps it around like a freaking big snake and squeezes them.
Yeah, like a boa constrictor. Interesting.
And a similar tale from the same book describes staking a witch through the heart to ensure she does not come back to haunt her enemies. So it's just another instance of kind of an ancient thing that sounded very vampire-like. Yeah. Bopping ahead several centuries to like 17th, 18th century, all that. There's been lots of plagues and diseases and other devastating things we can't explain. A little guy known as Vlad the Impaler or Vlad Dracul in Romania.
Yeah.
Bloodthirsty little guy. People wanted the comfort of the answers or explanations, so they have all these supernatural and superstitions.
Which I find funny because they this thing is unexplainable, so let's create a terrifying supernatural creature that's going to haunt our nightmares, because that's better than just being like, we don't know.
Like fairy tales, yeah. It's all there's a lesson. There's
Yeah.
always an enemy to make you do the right thing. They can't just be like,
Amazing.
"There's bears in the woods that could eat you." They have to be like, "There's a terrifying cryptid that wants to."
There's 3 bears, and they have different types of soup.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah, there was different illnesses that left behind things like bleeding mouth lesions, so they
Ugh.
would blame that on blood sucking, I guess.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, rabies, but also goiters and tuberculosis were all kind of associated with vampirism, just because I guess they weren't as understood and all that. And
Interesting.
some of the, symptoms or whatever. And medical advances would, of course, eventually disprove they were caused by vampires, but for now there's a real panic. Oh dear. And like, to be fair, between 1786 and 1800, tuberculosis took the lives of over 2% of New England's population, so it was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, everyone's dying. And so they also call it consumption. So they said of the tuberculosis patients that quote, consumptives lost weight, coughed up blood, their skin turned ashen, and sometimes died a slow death, almost as if something was sucking the life out of them.
Like a succubus.
Yeah, so they're like, something's doing it, or whatever. So an actual mass vampire panic took hold in the 18th century.
Not surprising. So like the
witches are out.
The witch trials.
Yeah. Now vampires are in.
Yeah, witches are out, vampires are in.
I know.
It's all the rage.
They called it the 18th century vampire controversy. Woof, that's light. But when someone was suspected of being a vampire, they would, as you mentioned, dig them up oftentimes and examine them then for like signs of life, like receding cuticles, hairlines, and things that made it look like things were still growing, but it's just the shrinking of the skin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't that happen to everybody?
I think yes. They're just like, no, they must be still alive. It's like, no, that's decomposition and stuff.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, oftentimes it was when someone's like whole family had been sick, they would then dig up one of the people and blame it on them.
Like an illness wouldn't go through the family first if it's super contagious. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing?
Every disease ever. Oh my god, the things we didn't know about disease. The things we didn't know, I should say. Have you listened to some of the history podcasts? Like the Constant had a really good episode or two about like how we knew nothing about how babies were made, even though we knew like
yeah,
get together and then like maybe sometimes 9 months later shit happens. But how does it happen? Is it all the guy? Do you need the girl there? They didn't understand if it was like an actual combination. They did experiments where they put little frogs in these little boxers to see if they would inseminate the eggs or not. There's like so many things.
Oh, yeah.
Bizarre, I'm telling you. Anyway, it's really good. Check it out.
We've spent so much of history just forcing animals to fuck so that we can watch.
It's for science.
So, yeah, it's for science. Sure it is, bud.
The crazy things we did for religion. I mean, at least we could do is something for science.
When they're trying to find mates for like animals in the zoo and they treat it like a dating show. They're like getting applications and been like, oh, is this gorilla attracted to this gorilla? It's like, how?
Oh my god. Isn't that like what they used to call animal husbandry, I think?
Yeah. Yeah, just insane.
Oh
Insane. Hilarious.
I'm glad we had some comic relief because this one's kind of dark.
Oh no.
There was the case of a lady named Mercy Brown of Exeter, Rhode Island, who was the daughter of a George Brown before she fell ill and died. After that, she was suspected of making her whole family sick. So they dug her up, like she's a vampire. And they dug her up in the winter in New England, so it was not easy.
What the hell? Damn.
And they cut out her heart, burned it, and fed the ashes to her brother who died.
So, oh. Ew.
Like you talked about, it didn't work. It's not good. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really sad.
I ran
He was
across
already sick, but like, yeah, that didn't help, I'm sure.
No, that did not help. I ran across a couple cases and I was like, oh, maybe if you weren't going to talk about them, I was like, maybe we could revisit these. And it was like cases in history they have like that kind of, where it's like, oh, they believe this person so strongly was a vampire that like people in town started doing all these crazy shit to protect themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. I ran across a couple of them and I wrote their names down. I was like, oh, if Alanna doesn't cover these, maybe we'll have to like revisit this and like we can
like
talk
a true
about
vampire case.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, just like weird. Yeah,
there's a few in mind that I didn't look into, but that I mention later that definitely could fit that bill, I think.
Yeah,
similar. Oh yeah, that's my next bullet. There were 2 very well recorded, well documented cases in Serbia of people dying and then seemingly coming back to life and like showing back up at their own like son's door or at their own family home or whatever. So yeah, that could like when you said that about the episode, I was like, oh yeah, I could look into those ones.
Yeah, I'm sure we can get a couple.
Oh yeah. Oh, exciting. So around the world, I guess, I don't know if these are more modern, but just different variations, right? So we've got some different types of vampire type creatures. Albania has the Striga and the Dampir. I feel like I've heard of them from like maybe video games.
Yeah,
or something.
I think the Dampirs are like half vampire, half mortal, aren't they?
Ooh, maybe. I didn't dive into them. I think this was just literally like the Wikipedia snippet that said they can turn into insects.
Oh.
I know. I was like, okay. Why would you want to? But to be a fly on the wall, I guess.
I mean, maybe I want to be a dragonfly, but there aren't many other insects. I think it would be cool to be. Like,
they're not as pretty.
Yeah. I would definitely want to be one of the flying ones, though.
Oh, yeah, not a little ant that can be stepped on. No, a bug's life.
Not a dung beetle. Or
they're not the sexiest of insects.
No.
Oh, they had a fun list of some Greek folklore beliefs of what turns you into a vampire, like being excommunicated, desecrating a religious day, committing a great crime, cat jumps over the grave. We should just have a drinking game every time someone says cat jumps over the grave. Also eating meat from a sheep that was killed by a wolf and being cursed.
Eating meat from a sheep that was killed by a wolf?
It's very, very
You're just supposed
that one.
You're just supposed to let it go to waste? Come on.
Why didn't the wolf eat it?
People
Why
are starving.
You finding this?
Yeah, that's so weird.
Don't eat wild meat that you find. PSA.
I just feel like that was like farmers, like a farmer's sheep flock. One of them was killed by a wolf, and then they eat it, and it's like, oh fuck, now you're a vampire.
Or they eat some of it, and you're like, oh, there's some good mutton right here. I'm not gonna let this go to waste. Yeah.
Damn.
So Iceland, fun old Iceland, has the Draugr. They are usually called a ghost, or the translation is more like ghost.
Ooh.
Yeah, I feel like I'd heard of those too, but their undead are typically thought to kind of have a body or be more corporeal than your average ghost, I guess. And some Icelandic scholars say they have more in common with the Eastern European vampires, so I guess they're very similar. They are driven by greed, dragon-like in that they are unwilling to part with their worldly belongings. So, misers. I don't know. I'd like to look more into them and just Iceland in general, because, like, oh, it gets crazy. They have these Tilbera frogger. I hope I wrote that right. Or they're called parasitic ghosts that try to kill or drive humans insane and drag them to their graves to make more Draugr. So they're perpetuating the undead thing. And they said, so that was the Tilbera frogger, but the Tilberi is a type of undead thing in Icelandic folklore made from a human rib given life by drinking the blood of a witch and then sent out to steal milk and money.
What? That's too many things.
Just a human rib given life, drinking the blood of a witch and all.
That's so very like Adam and folklore. Eve.
So bad. Iceland's so crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
Don't have a few more fun ones from around the world. Romania has the Moroi. I don't know if you say every letter like, Hawaii. Moroi? Moroi, however you say that. From the Romanian word for dead and the Slavic for nightmare. And they have this strigoi. I don't know. I feel like I've heard of them too, but I don't know how to say it. Strigoi? Live strigoi were witches with 2 hearts and or 2 souls that then sent their souls out to drink animal blood. And the dead strigoi were more like zombie-esque style bloodsuckers. Just your typical shambling undead.
Nice.
Bloodsucker. And it was fun because in the Romanian culture, they have the different causes of vampirism being like all these different babies born with any like caul, an extra nipple, a tail, or extra hair. Got a superfluous 3rd nipple, boom, vampire.
Yeah, or a witch. I think that was a common witch thing too, wasn't it?
Oh my god. The way that they can make anything a witch's mark, you're like, it's just a mole!
Yeah.
Oh gosh, when you didn't look up the Celtic stuff pronunciation. Well, here we go. In Ireland and Scotland. I think the second word is like a like banshee, like banshee from the Highlands, and the Leannan of the Isle of Man, Scotland and Ireland apparently have very vampiristic characteristics. And they said that the stories here may have inspired writers such as Sheridan Le Fanu and Bram Stoker himself. Dun, dun, dun. And I guess Sheridan is a gothic writer of mystery tales, so I was like, ooh, sounds cool. Would like to look more into those guys.
I tried reading Dracula, but it's like... Is it like written in the style of like journals? Like it's like journal entries, so everything's like first person eye kind of stuff. And after a couple weeks,
Dracula, you said?
Yeah, like after a couple weeks trying to read it at work during lunch breaks, I was like, I can't handle this. Nope. I was like, this is not something I'm gonna be trying to read while I relax on my lunch break after hectic days at work.
Yeah, that's tough when it's not necessarily in a driven sort of plot kind of style.
I don't know if it's all that way, but I remember when I was younger, I tried reading it too. I had checked it out from my school's library, and it was the same thing. I just couldn't keep with it.
No, I never read that one.
Yeah.
Victorian stuff. Maybe we should try Frankenstein. That one was written by a girl. Mary Shelley.
Yeah. OG for like super, what is it? Like science fiction? Isn't that what it is? They call her like
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets credited as like the OG science fiction writer or something.
I think so. I was gonna say, yeah, like you hear about that as being like, well, let's invent horror fiction or whatever. And they were just like, bam, done.
Yeah, and it was a woman. Thank you very much.
I'll thank you.
Yeah.
So something else said that the Slavic and Turkic Europe areas had some other causes in beliefs for vampirism. Again, not unnatural births, but unnatural deaths, such as suicide and improper burial rituals. So respect your dead, y'all.
Or dig them up so you can desecrate their bodies in a
or
semi-respectable way, like impaling them. That's totally.
Oh, it's so bad.
Right? Like, oh.
And then there's cultures that like dig them up every 10 years or so just to say hi. I can't remember if it was in Asia or where, but I was like,
really?
that's pretty nuts.
Damn.
Yeah. Cultures, man. They'd be crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure we could do a whole episode about like funeral and burial practices around the world.
Oh, death rites, death rituals.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be interesting. And all the modern ways you can supposedly get involved in, you know, natural whatever, all the different ones.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Okay, a few more. We have Croatia, Slovenia, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic have a type of vampire called the Pijavica or the Leech. Probably said that wrong. But it basically was like an evil person becomes an evil vampire or something like that.
Oh, okay. Just like,
yeah.
Bad.
You're just bad. Yeah. You're bad to the bone. This one was funny. Sort of.
Sort of.
I don't know. Is it funny? But Spain has the, oh God, Guaxa? Guaxa. Tell me how to pronounce that.
I have no idea.
But he's an old vampire who bites with his single tooth and sucks the blood of his victims.
Aww.
His single tooth.
Is it in the middle or is it one off to the side?
It's gotta be in the middle, right?
So weird.
I don't know, but I was reading this historical fiction book about these different Viking kings and whatever, and there was this guy who's called Melvin Tooth or some stupid. He was going. I don't know. His nickname was because he had this weird like tooth that kind of stuck out.
Snaggletooth.
Yeah, basically. And then like when they finally someone beheads him, and they're like, "Oh, we got him. He was like a Scottish Viking or something from like those crazy Scottish islands out in the north." And then like the guy who beheaded him was carrying around his head for a while, and then was like, "Oh, the tooth scratched my leg. It's nothing." And then like the scratch became infected and then killed him. And I was telling I heard about that Viking guy. And I was like, oh, okay, like he was a real guy, I think. Yeah.
Damn. I thought you were gonna say he pulled out the tooth and put it on a necklace like a shark tooth necklace.
Spoils of war, yeah. No, but it was still pretty grim, like pretty gruesome, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine you're carrying around a dead head. Literally. Like with a gross old tooth in it. Ugh.
Yeah, the teeth can be disgusting.
Oh, your mouth bacteria? Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah. I know my dad worked with a lady who her cat had bit her on her hand and like right in the knuckle joint of one of her fingers, and then the tooth had got like far enough in between the knuckles that like I guess it like left behind bacteria or something, and it got so badly infected it was like in her bones. She had to get her finger amputated. Yeah.
Whoa.
Just from a cat bite.
Blood poisoning for sure.
Yeah.
Crazy. You must think about that when Gordo scratches your hand. Holy shit.
Yeah, anytime when I was younger, got like a cat scratch or anything, my dad's like, go, like, wash, soap, everything, the whole area immediately.
Dang.
Like, yeah,
That's
you have to be
nuts.
really careful with pets.
Mm-hmm. I can only vaguely recall, but I think I had a lady who I sold travel insurance to whose husband, he had something happen to him when they were in the States snowbirding, and then I don't know, I thought they thought he was on the mend, but then he had like an infected toenail, and I don't think he didn't make it. It was just she was clearly traumatized because she was like telling the story, like she couldn't not get it out. But like that would be traumatic. You don't expect like someone to die from a minor wound. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a pet biting your finger, like that's not
right.
And it wasn't a crazy bad bite or anything like that, just wrong place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, so that was the I don't know, the Guaxa or the Guaha.
Yeah,
the old vampire with his little single tooth.
His one tooth.
And different region, Spain, I believe, the Catalonia region has the Dip legend, which is a vampire dog. So he sounded kind of cool.
Like the
right?
Oh my god, what is it? The chupacabra or something? Isn't that like suck the blood out of
he's a
like
goat sucker. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we do have some in the Americas, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, one of my lists listed like a bunch of animals that we have that are known to drink people's bloods, like leeches and
vampire
mosquitoes.
Bats.
Yeah, vampire bats. It said there's like 3 types of bats in the world that drink people's blood or animals' blood. I was like, oh, it's like, so
no
creepy.
wonder we have legends then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so creepy.
So not to leave out Africa, they had West Africa, the Ashanti people has the Asan Bosam, which are like iron-toothed tree dwellers, I guess. Cool. Sorry. The U people, and it's spelled like a female sheep. EWE. The U people. You people.
You people.
Oh no. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, but they have the ads, which shifts into a firefly and hunts kids, don't you know?
But fireflies are so cute.
Right? I was like thinking about that with the other one that turns into insects. I'm like, but you're so small, not scary.
Yeah.
What the heck? Maybe that's how they lure the kids in. Shift back.
Yeah, kids go out to catch fireflies. You're just like, oh, what if they're catching you? They can die.
South Africa has the Impundaloo, which can shift to a bird and summon thunder and lightning. Don't know what else he does, but that was cool. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had time to deep dive on all of them. I have a little bit more on some of these last few ones because some of them they didn't have much in the main Wikipedia article I was perusing. In Madagascar, the Betsilio have the I guess that's the name of the people. They have the Ramanga, an outlaw or living vamp who drinks the blood and eats the nail clippings of nobles. So that's fun.
Gross.
Right? Why?
Oh, that's disgusting.
No. Nothing else I came across was like that. It was so bizarre. I was like, okay. You just try to take in all their DNA as much as you can.
Yeah.
I think this is my finally in the Americas. Would you believe? Oh, Trinidad has something cool. It's the Sucuyant, and Colombia has the Tunda, and Patasola, and Chile has the Mapuche. So I have a little bit more on each of these because I was like, what do they do? The Sukuyant, sometimes also known as the Lagaru, is a woman by day, but in the night, she can shed her skin and transform into a fireball.
A fireball.
Why not? In this form, she can fly, and she feeds off the blood of other animals, human and non-human. This is a very popular character, and there are many different versions about her origin and behavior. So in some stories, she is an old, haggard woman by day, and in others, she is a beautiful woman who leads men astray.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we've talked about her before. Either you did or I did.
Oh, really? She sounds like
Yeah.
a similar type of creature, yeah, than what I've heard before. Some theories suggest that a woman becomes a Sukuyant when she was bitten by another Sukuyant. Others suggest that the victim of the bite dies or just becomes very weak. Some theories suggest that the Sukuyant only attacks people who have done evil to others. And other theories portray her as being able to charm her way into her prey's houses, where she then attacks them. It also has a compulsion to count rice grains, so you can fling those out for her. She's one of those.
I find that so funny.
Brought low by a bunch of spilled seeds,
Yeah.
Then there was the Tunda from Colombia. Apparently one of the most, quote, evil beings that can exist in the jungle. This ugly and monstrous woman has 1 foot of a pinwheel, or tingu, root of a tree, and the other like that of a baby. Well,
That's a bizarre combination for a grown woman to have.
She's uneven.
Yeah, like what does that even look like? 1 pinwheel leg and then a baby foot?
Or root of a tree. Yeah.
Hell, what do her footprints look like? What the fuck?
Like she's a peg leg. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that's just terrible. Or like,
I want pictures.
Yeah, like that makes no sense. I remember my brother one time telling me that him and his friend had gone out rollerblading. But his friend didn't have rollerblades, so they had each worn one of my brother's rollerblades and then like just kicked with the other foot. So that's all I can picture her doing, but it's just a baby foot.
It's like like when you're
Fascinating.
just kind of on a skateboard and
Yeah, but it's just one rollerblade. Fascinating. I would love to see pictures of
That's a bizarre choice, you guys.
Yeah.
Just say
so
it.
Weird.
Travis, I have questions.
Yeah, well, like it's no fun to go from one place to another when you got one friend that's just walking and you have rollerblades and you're going.
Yeah.
It's like it's so hard to go slow on rollerblades. Like you got to do something.
Right. One person has the bike, they can walk it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and my brother had rollerblades but no shoes, so he wore his friend's other shoe, and then the guy wore one of my brother's rollerblades, and then the problem solved. Now they're each the same speed.
Well, as long as it's at least worrisome of his questionable decisions.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, so this lady, the Tanda, she takes disobedient children and those who did not receive baptism. No, there's religion.
There's religion.
She also lures late night and unfaithful husbands and young men or women into the woods and holds them captive there. I don't know what it means by just late night. Sure. Partiers, oh no.
You missed curfew! Snatch.
Yeah, that's the lesson here. She deceives her victims by taking the form of a loved one. When she has them in her domain, she feeds them with prawns and crabs to keep them alive in a kind of trance known as entendamiento.
But prawns and crabs, what a diet. That's nice.
That does sound kind of good, right?
Right? Like, out of all the things you could feed these captives, that sounds great.
Coconut shrimp? What? Crab dip? Oh, crab cake?
Yeah, damn.
Oh, this is crazy. The Entundados learn to love this woman and reject humans. Well, she's plying them with prawns.
Have you ever had crab legs? Come on.
Ooh.
Unlimited supply.
God damn. In order to rescue them, it is necessary to form a family commission and a priest. Okay. This is all quoted. All of them go into the forest playing drums, canunos and bass drums, burning gunpowder, firing shotguns, saying prayers, and saying foul words so that she disappears.
Prayers and swearing.
Sounds like a good time.
Into the forest. That sounds hilarious.
Careful while you're firing your shotguns, because you're all drinking,
Yeah.
I think. This horrendous creature is dedicated to the consumption of human beings. Since it has a ferocious appetite, it hunts many victims in the span of a few days. She keeps them tame with her bad smells.
Oh.
And they allow her to suck some blood to satisfy her vampiric urges. And that's sad.
How do you keep somebody tame with your bad smell?
I have no idea.
It's the oddest sentence I've heard.
They pass out. Yeah, it's
Kinda
weird. It
hold their
comes up
breath.
a few times. They're like, the tunda is black. Oh, well, some sources say the tunda is black and then it smells bad. That feels weird to say. But it also, like, experiences human feelings, falls in love, complains and hates, especially children. She's a complicated figure. Oh my gosh. Despite her human feelings and actions, she has superhuman powers, since it is she who produces the conjugation of sun and rain. And when this happens, the people of the Pacific say that the tunda is giving birth.
Bizarre. So
It
weird.
is. Oh, okay. More on maybe the keeping them tame. Sometimes it takes the form of a loved one, such as resembling the mother of a child, which manages to attract the child to the forest. There it feeds them with prawns that it has developed in order to keep its victims docile in a kind of trance state. This is called grounded, and a person is said to be grounded. Well,
Okay.
I'm sorry, that didn't explain much more. The communities are very fearful of this vision, as it is called, in order for them to return the children who were laid. They perform Afro rituals, meet with godparents, and carry the hype with happy songs that makes the thrashing go away and leave its victims free. That's the tunda. I think this is my final one from this Caribbean region, which is also very bizarre and has a weird leg. The patasola, or single leg, is one of the many legends in South African folklore about female monsters from the jungle appearing to male hunters or loggers in the middle of the wilderness when they think about women. Well, good luck with that.
I haven't seen a woman in weeks. Oh, here's this one-legged creature.
It's just a tree stump.
I'm gonna go fuck that stump.
There's a knot. Oh my god. Anyway, the patazola appears in the form of a beautiful, seductive woman. Well, often in the likeness of a loved one. Oh, they're tricksters. They lure their companions away, deep into the jungle. There, the patazola reveals her true, hideous appearance as a one-legged creature with ferocious vampire-like lust for human flesh and blood, attacking and devouring the flesh or sucking the blood of her victims. Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh, I lied. The last one is the Lugaroo, which is interesting in that it's kind of a werewolfy, but
Oh,
I guess they come from a mix of French and African cultures, African voodoo sometimes. The term comes from the loup-garou, which is the French for the werewolf. So I think I have heard of the loup-garou as like a cryptid creature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mostly in, I think it was, either North America, or they say it comes up in Mauritian and other African and Caribbean cultures. So it's a mix, but this one said that from the Isle of Haiti come the loup-garou. Legend goes back to the 14th century when most of the island's population were ex-African slaves. So I guess that's how the cultures kind of mixed. According to them, the loup-garou was a part wolf and vampire combination. Preferring to drink the blood of innocents, the loup-garou would take on the pleasing form of a young and beautiful girl, if the victim was male, hetero, or that of a handsome man if the victim was female. Upon draining their unfortunate prey of their blood, the creature's beast state came out. The wolf form would continue the rest, capable of being killed by either wooden stake or blessed bullet. A trick to stopping a loup-garou was to throw a small sack of rice in front of them. Because if you don't have a silver bullet, maybe you got a bag of rice. I mean... okay, yeah, that was basically the rest. There's a few in India that are like a creature with a head encircled by intestines and a skull from which it drank blood, the Brahmakarashasa.
Gross.
I know, I love the gross ones. And I think these other flying ones from like Malaysia and other parts of Asia, like the Philippines, I think we have touched on some of them because I've been obsessed with one of them since we had a vampire lore book when I was a kid. They have the Penanggalan, and in the Philippines they have the Manduro and the Visayan Manananggal. They all have really long names, but that means the self-segmented ones because they're the ones can just be like a flying torso, basically.
Oh, yeah. Creepy.
Yeah, it says the Manananggal is a Philippines mystical creature described as scary, often hideous, usually depicted as female, and always capable of severing its upper torso and sprouting huge bat-like wings to fly into the night in search of its victims. So those ones will always be some of the scariest ones for me, just like flying.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Torso. Yeah, with like entrails dragging out of them in some of the pictures. You're just like, oh, great.
Yeah, that would be horrifying, that flying towards you.
It's half a body and it's coming for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's all I got on vampire lore, so...
Damn.
Wow.
That was crazy.
I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. But yeah, there's a lot, so appreciate you sticking with us.
Yeah. I think we'll revisit and maybe find some cases or something to share with you guys about.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean,
stuff.
spooky season is not over, so...
Yeah.
Definitely.
What do we have next week?
Oh, one I still need to pick my exact case for. A horror movie inspired crimes.
Yeah.
Or horror movies inspired by real crimes, I guess.
I can't remember what we picked. Mine is a crime that was inspired by a horror movie. So I think you could go either way. Either way.
You could. You really could. There's so many.
Don't limit yourself. One way or the other. That's fine.
Misunderstand the assignment. Go balls to the wall. Yeah.
Like I couldn't remember which we had settled on either, and then when I was looking up cases, I found one and I was like, this will work. So
it's kind of open to interpretation because mine notes just say horror movie crimes, so that's
really... I know that's all I had put too, and then I couldn't remember what we had talked about.
Ooh, that's gonna be good. Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah, should be fun.
All right, well, I guess they'll catch us next week with that.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Keep watch. We'll be doing some other things this spooky season, but we'll let you know.
Yeah.
And keep it cryptic.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Castles and Cryptids. We love all our listeners and appreciate every subscriber, every new review, every listen, rate, and download. Our music is by Kobe Off Air, and our cover art is by Antonio Garcia. We are also a proud member of Darkcast Network, where you can find the best and spookiest of all indie podcasts. Follow us on social media, where we are at Castles and Cryptids on mostly all of the things, now including TikTok. Check out our bonus content on Patreon. Cryptid clashes, video minisodes of your hosts making asses of themselves, Ask Me Anything, quizzes, other special episodes, and more. Starting at just $2 a month, you can get 1 to 2 extra episodes, depending on your level. We produce, edit, and research everything ourselves, and any support you can lend helps us to keep it cryptic.